Welcome. My name is Amandeep. Welcome to Heartwork Heroes, a show about ordinary people doing extraordinary work that is passionate, heartfelt, impactful, and life changing to the people around them, their friends, families, communities, and the world. Today, I have on my show Mr. Patrikus Maximus, who is the founder and CEO of Personal Genie Productions, is actually was a captain of hockey team in elementary and won three-peat MVP. That's kudos. Former general manager of multi-million dollar cafe chain. Sales team was a part of a sales team who has sold $750,000 worth of products worldwide, not Canada, worldwide, and former full-time poker profiting poker player. Patricus, welcome to the show.
Hey, great day, MND. Great day, everybody. Thanks for having me on. I'm super blessed and I feel honored to be on your wonderful show. I've seen some of the episodes and you had some really, really amazing guests on.
Thank you. I appreciate all the kind words here. And the idea is to have fun on the show. So having funny people and light people is the way to go for me. So thank you for being on the show. I do appreciate it. Uh, and let's just dive into knowing about you. Like I've known you for a year now, and I have had a couple of chats with you, and they were always enlightening. Uh, I have always enjoyed talking to you. Today, I want to know your backstory. Share something about where you started from, where are you from, um, and then how exactly you uh, have come up to where you are. Let's hear
You know, great question. And before we get into that, I just want to address the elephant in the room. You see my hair sticking out there? It's not, uh, please ignore that, okay? My hairdresser accidentally cut that part. Now I'm growing it back out so it can blend in with the other part. I just want to get that out of the way.
it. Okay, I didn't even notice until you said that.
Just in case people out there is like, what's going on with that hair? But back to your question.
Yeah.
How did I start? I feel super lucky to be here in Canada. My family, I was born and raised till 4 years old in Vietnam, and my
Hmm.
mom did whatever it took to get the four of us here to Canada, for her four children. Single mother on welfare, no English, so every time when she got here, she had to learn everything to feed us and to put clothes on our back and get us in school and everything. So that's a little bit of how I got to Canada, and I just got to give a shout out to my mom, how, for the biggest reason why I'm here. I always look to her for strength because, man, the stories that she told me, the journey to get here, every time I feel a little bit lethargic or down or overwhelmed, I just think of my mom's journey here to Canada and I'm like, man, if she did that, I have no excuse.
Exactly. Especially coming, this country is all about immigrants. So the drive that immigrants bring with them to this land is
Mhm.
commendable. So kudos to your mom, and she has raised you really well. I can see it.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Mom, if you're watching this, I love you.
That's great. So, so when you moved here, how did you get into? How did you actually get into the film production, that the career that you are following today? Tell me like the whole story. Tell me what happened. Where did you start from? I've just shared about you that you were the three-peat champion. You were an MVP. Let's hear it. What happens?
Yeah.
How did you from there on when you were 4 years old? When you were 4 years old, and then to today, and you look young by the way. So
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate it. Your health is your wealth, they say. So, man, when I grew up here in Canada, it's a hockey country. We all know that, right? So naturally, I got into hockey, and what really drew me to hockey, I remember, was that even though I was virtually most of the time, 99.9% of the time, the smallest kid, the smallest guy in any room, right? But I was just really drawn to the physicality of the game. It's not like baseball where you can actually take a nap when you're not up for bat, right? I love the fast pace of hockey and the teamwork as well. You can't win the game without teamwork. I loved that dynamic of that. However, with that said, there would always be a few players and exceptionally exceptional players where they can quote steal the game for you, if
Mhm.
that makes sense, right? They'll have that moment where they just really take that game on. They're in the zone and they get that winning goal, or the goalie, they get that those saves that changes the entire dynamic of the game. Like I love that about hockey. And I guess cool story. And I have to be careful here. I'm sure a lot of the viewers have seen Married with Children. Do you remember that show? Al Bundy.
No, never.
Okay.
But
Well,
okay, but I'm sure viewers must have. Yes.
it's about this shoe salesman. Where in high school, or was it college? He was a football player, and he had this really amazing record. But growing up, he became a shoe salesman, and he would always brag about his success in college, and he never let it go. But then now he's quote a failure. So I had to be careful not to be bragging about the past too much. Every time I talk about the my three-peat MVP, I'm reminded of that. I remember that show. And it's like, okay, let's not go too far down that story. But it was fun. Again, I think because I was so passionate about the game and I understood the game so well, and I
Mhm.
just loved everything about the game. It made me want to be the best player I could. And I had to give my older brother credit. Growing up, he was always bigger, faster, stronger than I was. And that annoyed me so much. I remember it annoyed me so much. He would get more goals. He would be able to take the puck from me. And that pushed me to be like, man, I want to be better than him. That pushed me. And that was really what propelled me to get to the captain of the team and then ultimately winning MVP 3 times in a row. So, yeah.
That's good. That's great. And then from there on, how did you morph into like today? You are following a film career. What happened in
Yeah.
between?
So, again, good question. I was playing poker actually. So poker again is like the complete opposite of hockey. Very
Mhm.
slow paced, and there's really no team dynamic. And what I really loved about poker is you're not playing against the banker or the house, right? You're playing against other people. So the better player is going to win in the long run. You know, players may get lucky a few hands here and there, but in the long run, the better player is going to win. And I really enjoyed the fact that playing poker, I couldn't blame anybody else. Everything was on me. If I lost a hand, it's on me. If I won a hand, that's my fault. I really love that about poker. And I remember I was making really good money playing poker. I was making an average about $6,000 a month, just playing cash game, playing poker, on my schedule. And I played an average 3 hours a day. So I
Yeah.
had time to,
And
yeah.
when was this? How old were you?
This was in 2018 to 2019, actually. Yeah. And to late mid 2019. And I was doing really well. Again, I really enjoyed the game. I met some interesting people. But I remember one day I was sitting there, and again, this is when I was making good money, like decent money, just playing cards, right, for 3 hours a day. And I remember sitting there, I felt empty. I was like something's missing here. Like I don't feel like I want to do this the rest of my life. I was at the time I was listening to this audio called Your Wish is Your Command. And I was applying the information I learned from there. And I know that was a big part of my success, 100%, because it's all about the mind training, right? And I remember sitting there, it's like, man, something's missing. I don't feel like I want to do this for the rest of my life. Yeah, I'm making decent money, paying all my bills on time and paying rent on time and with some extra cash to invest and stuff. But it was hollow. And then, you know, I think it was a friend, yeah, a friend of mine back in high school. She was like, "Hey, I have an opportunity. We can be on this movie with Seth Rogen, right? It's only as a background actors, right? And the scene is we're on the bus with him. What was the movie? It was Seth Rogen and James Franco was in that a very controversial movie um about Korea. I forgot what it's called. But she said we have I think The Dictator or something like that. It's a comedy, right? Of course, Seth Rogen, James Franco, it's a comedy. And she's like, "Hey, do you want to join me?" They're paying it was like $350 for the day. We're just sitting there. Yeah.
Are you talking about the Dictator movie with the actor who played the Borat? Are you talking about that movie?
Oh no, no, no. It was
Okay.
Seth Rogen and James Franco. Maybe it's not called A Dictator. I can't remember.
Okay.
See, at the time I wasn't very into the film industry yet,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
But
Makes sense.
she gave me that she called me up and she's like, "Hey, you want to be on this movie with me?" I was like, "Sure, why not? 350 for the day. We're just sitting around on the bus and with Seth Rogen." And I was like, "Sure." So, got on set and like right away, I remember telling my friend, "Hey, we'll meet Seth Rogen too." She's like, "Oh, what are the chances of that?" Got on set. Guess who walks right around the corner, like literally 1 minute while we're on set? Seth Rogen, and I just joked at him. I I was like, "Hey, Seth, you want to go?" And he just cracked up laughing. So that was funny. And then we got, it was my first time being on set. Everything started to happen, and it was just a very enjoyable experience. And that was what sparked my interest in the film industry. And I still didn't hadn't done anything about that. That was actually way before I started my film career, just to backtrack a little bit. But that planted the seed of the interest. And then going back to the poker thing, when I was sitting there, it's like, okay, well, what do I want to do? When I was sitting there, if I don't want to be playing poker for the rest of my life, what do I want to do? And then applying the training that I heard from Your Wish is Your Command, I actually sat down at home and took some time to think about it. I was like, and then I remembered, hey, I really had a good time being on set, in that movie. Why don't I just reach out to some friends who were in the industry and just check it out. So I did that, and I reached out to a high school friend of mine who is a director, and I was like, "Hey, how do I get involved in this industry?" And he's like, "Well, hey, you know what? I have this short film coming up. Read the script. If you like it, you have that lead role." I was like, boom, right away. See, applying certain mind training, right? So I took the role, and we ended up winning second place at the Vancouver Asian Film Festival. That again was like, I guess, the success momentum that kind of got me more interested into it. And then yeah, eventually an agent reached out to me, and it was funny as I got more into the film industry. My experience was everyone was telling me how difficult it is. Like I got into BG doing more background work and stuff, right? Because I wanted to be on set to learn and just absorb the energy and see how everything works out. Because that's just my personality. When I'm interested in something, I'm gonna go all in, poker term, all in, and just absorb everything and just be obsessed with it. And yeah, people around me were telling me how hard it is. Oh, it's going to take you a couple years to get an agent. It's going to, take you so and so amount of time to get credits. Very not very optimistic sounding. However, I feel so lucky I was applying the certain training, and everything just like one after another, like that lead role from my friend, right? And then I hadn't I actually volunteered. I was applying the, the secret of living is giving, and I volunteered for to do some stuff on a someone who was filming a pilot for a Netflix series. He was going to pitch to Netflix, and I just volunteered. And through that experience, one of the lead actors on the show, really, we got connected. He really liked my work ethic, he said, and he introduced his agent to me, and they reached out to me, and I was like, man, that was within a 6 months window, so everything was clicking off. And as you can tell, like once you have that, when things are working out, you get more excited and you get deeper and deeper and deeper into it. And yeah, it was a very, very fun experience. I've met some really amazing people. Two of them are actually going to be on my film that we're filming in July 27th, actually. I've met some, yeah, a couple of my best friends today are I met through the film industry. And yeah, I did take a break, however, at in 2020. I stepped away from the film industry and from the acting side, and then now I came back and I started my own production company.
And it's amazing the story that you have, and you have shared so many nuggets of gold, which I have seen. And you use the word obsessed. Generally, people they do not want to use this word obsessed. But
Mm.
I heard that you said two terms. You said all in, and you were obsessed, just like poker. Um, would you mind sharing, please? What do you mean by obsessed, and why exactly, in your opinion, obsession is a good thing?
Good question. I believe the reason why people don't like to use the word obsessed is usually it's tied to obsessive to a lover, right? And when you're obsessed with a lover, it kind of gets them to um, repel you, and it's not a pretty thing. So, but when you think in terms of obsession, it really just means, for me at least, it just means that I'm so into this industry that I just want to know everything about it. It's similar to everyone, we all have our favorite songs or our favorite movies. I'm sure a movie is on average an hour and a half long, but when you have a favorite movie, you've seen it at least 10 times. You can repeat the lines verbatim every single time when it comes on, you just have to watch it, right? That's a healthy obsession. You're feeling good, right? So same thing applies to the industry. I was just obsessed with it. I was so fascinated about how this camera worked, how the scenes took. You know, one of the my favorite experience I had on set was I'm watching all these things, these moving parts. There's like 10 camera people, and then the camera people had assistants. There's like a director, assistant director, and da 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 da. There's the actors and actresses, and then background people, like 50 of them. There's so many moving parts. The DPs, cameramen, the boomers, everything, sound, everything moving, coming together to make this one 10-second scene. And I remember watching this happen, unfold, and I was just so fascinated. I'm like, okay, well, it makes sense why movies cost so much to make. For one, there's just so many people being hired, right? And rightfully so. They're great at what they do for the most part. And I remember there was this one scene where we did the take. I believe we did about 25 to 30 takes for one scene. We spent a few hours doing it, and the scene was 10 seconds. And I just, for some people, they were annoyed. Oh, why do we gotta do this over and over? For me, I was just so intrigued. I was like, man, all this energy, this passion, this love to go into this one scene, it had to be perfect. And that just got me really fired up and excited about it. I mean, hopefully I don't have to do so many takes 25 times, but for me, it was just the love that went into it, the care that went into it, and that's what I mean by obsession. Like, even if it could take you longer than expected, but you're having so much fun.
I like the fact that you're mentioning words like fun, because that's where it defines the word occupy. Um, if it's not occupy, I mean obsession. If you're
Mhm.
not having fun doing it, then obsession would not be there, and it generally doesn't mean that you are a obsessive compulsive like the so-called OCDs and the ADHDs, and a lot of these are just flying around in the space today. So it's good that you said that, and I really like how you have defined it, so thank you, that's appreciated. um, a lot of things that you've shared about your story right now, I've seen my story back in the day. Uh, because just like your mom, I am an immigrant to this country. So having um, that fire is there for you to just prove yourself. Because I don't know if your mom has ever shared this with you, but I think you do relate. I want to go back with success to my country.
Mhm.
You see what I'm saying? Like, how will I
Yeah.
show my face if
Mhm.
it's just I wanted to share when you're sharing about your story, it just reminded me of where I'm from and what I've done. And I'll share it some other day with the
Yeah.
viewers, buddy.
When did you guys get to Canada?
So we moved here in 2017 November,
Okay.
and yeah, we moved from I mean from India, but then I'm from New Delhi, which is the capital of the country, and my wife is from another city, just 200 kilometers away, not that far.
Yeah.
And then we both decided to move here. Back there, I was in the Indian Navy, so I was a military officer, and my
Mhm.
wife, she was a teacher. So we moved here, totally got into so totally different. We went into sales, did door to door knocking, door to door sales, worked
Wow,
our
you
way.
right cool. You went right
Yeah, we
into sales.
oh yeah, for sure. It was a great time. I learned a lot about myself. I got introduced to Your Wish is Your Command CD2. So I realized, well, door knocking is not much about skills. It's about the thing up here. And
Mhm.
I applied the training a lot of times, and I've seen how by just shifting my thought and saying this is my deal here on this door, 9 out of 10 times it was a deal, or at least it was
Yeah.
close enough
Yeah.
that on the next or the next door you do get a deal. So
Mhm.
the stuff works, and there's it may look like uh, when people say it's just too much for me to realize. Well, I in my understanding, starting from this point, what do you know really? And I'm not saying from the point of view of showing ego, or but just asking yourself, do you think you know everything? If you get an answer to that and you say a yes, well then I don't know. But if you say
It
there's
can be
so much more to
considered.
know, so yeah,
Yeah.
that's now that I've shared my story. But again, this is
Mhm.
about you, so thank you for asking that question, though. So
You know, you did
I see that. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
oh, you did bring up something key, like the ego too, and kind of going back to what you said about, going back to our home country and just letting people know that, hey, we've made it, we're successful. And back then for me was ego based. I want to go back and show my family like, hey, I didn't waste my time over here. I'm successful now. Look at me. However, today it's more like, hey, look, I came over here, I made it, and what I can do, you can do as well. It's more of I want to inspire people to really
Mm,
take that leap of faith and go after their dreams.
that is amazing. That is, I've never thought like that. So thank you for sharing that. I can inculcate that in my thought process, and then obviously it will grow. So yeah, that's good, because till now I think I was riding the wave of showing ego, but you learn,
Exactly.
you learn from others. Yes. So I see that your biggest influence growing up, in my understanding, and the story that you have shared, is your mother, right? Is there
Mhm.
anybody else who has had a biggest, like one of the biggest influences on you growing up? Even if it's your mom,
Mm.
would you
Definitely,
would you want to share?
yeah, definitely my mom. And then I kind of touched on my older brother who pissed me off so much. He was always bigger, faster, stronger.
He actually helped you to grow, so that's good.
Exactly, exactly. And that's a key secret that I learned in life is to use anger properly because if you
Ah,
someone pisses you off, you can use it to get motivated to be better, but just leave out the ego part, you know.
exactly.
Um, a wise man once said, "Success is the best revenge."
Yes.
And who else? I would say my family, including myself, would be have big impact in my life because at the end of the day, and of course my friends too, you know, like I love my friends more than anything. At the end of the day, it's like, okay, well, you know, let's say like now I'm rich, now I'm successful, now I'm famous or whatever. Well, if I don't have anybody around me, none of that
What
shit
is,
matters anyways. Like,
yeah, what
am
is
I
the
gonna,
point?
yeah, am I gonna sit on this mega yacht by myself, right? So I would say my family and friends would be the biggest inspiration and had the biggest impacts on my life, you know, past, present, and future. Because in the
Hmm.
past too, like, you know, I've been really lucky to have amazing friends who, when I was down and out, would always say the right things or would always be there for me. Same thing with my family. And but it's like very interesting because being it's so interesting because it was the moment when my family and some of my best friends back then said no when I went to ask them to borrow money. That lit a fire in me because I was, instead of getting angry at them, I was like, how is it that I'm in this position that I need to go to my family and friends to borrow money all the time? That pissed me off so much. I wasn't angry at them, but they helped flip the switch. And then I knew I had to get my act together. And thank you to them for saying no, because every time they lent me money, see, looking back now, it was detrimental to me. I was being too dependent on them, right? So they helped me really strive to be my own person, be independent, be self-reliant, and so again, family and friends, you know, they're always there for you, uh, with the proper awareness. Because I easily could have been upset at them for saying no. It's like, oh, why won't you lend me money? No, but again, lucky for certain mentors and training, I was able to see it in a different frame. And instead of getting mad at them, I was mad at myself, and I had to get myself out of that situation.
Yes, yes. So I can see, I can relate to a lot of things when you've shared. Some of my family members have been uh, pain in my butt a lot of times, and I'm glad because they have done that, because they have pushed me to show that okay, what you think that, and I think coming from developing countries, I think the energy just over there is slightly different than being here in this part of the world. Um, that's just my understanding, my opinion, and my observation. Over, I understand that over there is more chaos. Over here, it's more structured. That's just my understanding, and a lot of it comes down to family dynamics and your family, not your parents, but could be. But in my opinion, my upbringing was where I've seen my other family members have created certain scenarios where they have shown a different side of themselves. Just my understanding, it could be totally different. That's just how I viewed it, and they gave me so much fire to prove them wrong. And I did. And I've done so many times. It's just that I don't talk to them anymore, but it's all good because I grew from that and I realized I cannot be part of that
Mhm.
energy anymore. So I just
Yeah.
changed the way I vibrate, I guess.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
it's
Yeah.
it's fun and it's amazing. Go ahead.
Mhm. Yeah. Hey, you know what? You're absolutely right. I make it sound like my family and I are so tight and so good, but no, we didn't grow up that way either. It took a lot of work. It took
Oh
a
yeah.
lot, you know, for a while. I did the same thing. I distanced myself from my family. We grew up really rocky. My brother and sister and I, my brothers and sister and I, even my mom and I, we did not really get along. We did not see eye to eye. And I did distance myself for a few years and kind of just disconnected. But I knew family was so important that everything I was doing really still was for them. But like you said, sometimes it's just really difficult to be around them. But I
Mhm.
was going through, I had, listening to my mentor, I was going through certain training, and I I understood that if it is to be, it's up to me, right? If I wanted things in my life to change, I had to change things in my life, and I knew that as human beings, we're creators of our reality. So
Yeah,
going through the training, I knew that as long as I change my energy, it will affect the people around me. And I was, that's why I had to distance myself so I can focus on that training, focus on me. Everything starts within, as within, so without, right?
without, yes.
And knowing that, I went through the training, I put my head down, I went through the training, and a few years later, it was like as if by magic, we started talking to each other differently. We started treating each other differently. We haven't argued in years. And whereas before, we would argue almost every time we got together, maybe, and not even in person, just on the phone, you know.
Yeah.
But because of, again, I have to credit this to, of course, myself for going through the training, but your wish is your command changed
Yeah.
changed everything. No, your wish is your command, not
Your
anybody
command.
else.
Yes.
Your
And
command.
since we have mentioned it so many times, I just want to, for the viewers, I just want them to see this is the CD series. And if you do want to, you don't find these anymore. These were just like, these are, I think it's just, what do you call it? It's something that is possessed, like you, it's a prized possession. It's not in the market
Yeah.
anymore. What do you call it? It's,
I
I
would
think it's,
it's let's say it's very special, and there's a word for it. I know what you're thinking
you
of
know what I'm
too, and it's
saying?
like on the tip of my
Yeah.
tongue. But let's just say it's very special,
Yes,
and if it comes into your life, you're at the right place at the right time.
exactly. And this has changed so many people's lives. Patrick is here. My life has changed. My wife's life has changed. So if you really want to change your life, give it a go. My suggestion would be to, I will share it in the description, but my suggestion would be to go to globalinformationnetwork.com and see what it is all about. And if you find that these CDs are something that can change your life, give it a listen, take a listen, and then if it's good, follow the process. If it's not, well, at least you took the chance. At least you took the chance. So that's good.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
let's talk a little bit about the business side. Go ahead. Sorry, you were saying something.
It's funny, we didn't even plan to plug your wishes, your command in here, but I'll have to just add one more thing. Like, look, give it a listen. If you resonate with it, great. It's going to do so much good for you. If you don't resonate with it, that's okay too. I'm sure there's other audios or other people out there that you do resonate with. And hey, should you go down that path, we wish you the best, all the best. Love is the way, and let's do good for the world. There's more than one way to get to
Yes,
you know
to the
fun.
destination. There is always a lot of ways to get to the destination. So, yes, by all means, follow your bliss. Take a listen, and if it is part of your bliss, follow it. If it's not, and like Patrick is just saying, by all means, follow your bliss. You'll figure out. But the idea is to follow your bliss. Don't follow
Yeah.
this.
Yes.
Don't follow others. Follow your bliss.
Follow your bliss, what makes you feel good, but always remember, love is the way.
Is the way.
Do everything
Yes.
love based.
Yes, exactly. Love is the way. So let's talk about little bit about the business side of things, right? Like, what is your business philosophy, Patrikus?
Mhm. Again, very good question. Business philosophy is uplifting each other, right? I truly believe in my heart that the top does not have to be lonely. Now, there's a lot of space in at the top, right? Because quote, there's not many of them, right? There's 1% or whatever. But success leaves clues, and there are plenty of successful people out there who are at the top 1% or top 0.1% who are leaving us clues, teaching us the secrets of success and how to do what they did or similar. All we have to do is pay attention and actually listen. And one of the biggest thing I learned from my mentor is you have to be a good follower. All great leaders were once great followers, because just like making a delicious chocolate cake, and excuse me here, the ambulance is doing a great job saving lives, so we really appreciate them being out there and doing the work that you and I and the viewers who were not doing that right now. So thank you, ambulance people. And but let's say you make a delicious chocolate cake. You have to get all the ingredients properly in the right proportions, in the right order, otherwise you won't get delicious chocolate cake. That's one of the biggest things that I learned from my mentor. And just kind of going back to the success philosophy is lifting each other up, doing the right things. And again, there's no reason that we can't get to the top together, and what's that saying in Zorro? One for all and all for one. I truly am a big believer, and I love the team dynamic. And let me see, what can I say and what can't I say? Lifting each other up, just so I don't sound so wacko. Lifting each other up, getting to the top together so that our light will be bright enough to light other people's candles and have
Mhm.
fun doing it. That's my business philosophy. I really believe we can win together and have fun doing it.
Wow, that's amazing. I've never heard that. It's usually very strategic answers that I get, but today it's like I felt it, and I felt goosebumps. I felt chills down my spine. So really good answer. I've never heard this. So thank you for sharing that. This is amazing. And you know that the answer is I would say quote unquote the right answer, because for me, because of the way I felt for it. So it is amazing, and I understand that's what, if all of us are love and love is the way, then this is the only answer: uplifting each other and moving up. That's the only
Exactly.
way to go in life, business, whatever part of the field you are a part of, whatever you do, that is the
Yeah.
only way. And people have tried to create the separation, but love is always finding a way to win. I've always seen that. It is always finding a way to win. That's great. So
don't you
go
just
ahead, go
feel
ahead.
so much don't you just feel so much better? And I'm speaking to the viewers as well. Don't you just feel so much better when you are doing things out of love, seeing your family and your friends and other people even feeling good and succeeding as well? Just
I
saying.
mean, it's an amazing feeling, and at the same time, I do see certain people feel jealous and feel like, why is he or she moving up and not me? And 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 again, I mean, there's a whole different conversation on this, and I'm not going to go there. And But the point here is to, if that's the first thing that comes in your mind, in my understanding, is just that maybe start working on that first before you actually get to believing this part, that love is the way, because it might be a big jump because of the experiences that you've had or the upbringing that you've had. So, so that's why this is the answer.
Yeah, that is the answer. That is the answer. And by the way, love does take work. It
Yes, it does.
does
It
take
does.
work.
It does. I'm amazed to see that somehow I am recommending from my end the your wishes, your command. So, and you are too. So I'm happy sharing about this, and I would love to talk about this but not today. Not today. Let's just focus. So when you said that uplifting others and growing together is your business philosophy, how has this helped you, um, especially in your film career?
Pardon me 1 second. I also
Sure.
like to take notes because it's a good habit to be always be teachable. So when other people are
Yeah,
saying things that stick for me, I love to take notes as well.
same here. I'm just writing them down.
So would you repeat that question?
So you've talked about uplifting others, and how has this helped you in your career, your film production career?
Yeah, so man, it's just like it's all about giving back because I wouldn't be in the position I am today, you know, without other people lifting me up, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There's another great saying out there, I scratch your back, you scratch my back, or the other way
Yeah.
around, scratch my back, I scratch your back, right? And hum human nature, like the human race, we're social creatures, we're social beings. So, it's just natural to uplift others. At least I feel that way. It's just a natural tendency to uplift others. And again, this really goes back to working on yourself because when you're really happy, when you feel really good about yourself and confident, the natural tendency is to go help other people feel that experience what you're experiencing, you know? And I kind of touched on it earlier. The secret of living is giving.
Yes.
So, my teacher or my mentor shared with me, and this is kind of different than what I just said earlier, where when you feel good, when you're happy, the natural tendency is to go help other people. But also sometimes when you aren't feeling the best, a great way to feel better is to go do something good for another person,
That's
right?
good. Yes. Mm.
So there are times where I've been tired on set and I need 3 or 4 cups of coffee, right? And just by knowing that, hey, you know what, I'm gonna put out a little bit extra effort just to make sure that this person's feeling good, or this person has enough to eat. Just them, the way they say thank you to you and smile makes all of a sudden you feel better, and then you're not, I'm not as tired anymore. So that's another, I feel, another secret that I've learned in life and in business is whether whenever you I'm going to share something that also, again, I refer to my mentor a lot. He's taught me so much, and he says
Mm.
that whatever you want, give it away first, right?
Mm.
So if you're wanting money, if you're wanting love, give it away, because the secret to living is giving, and it has to come back to you tenfold, 100-fold, 1,000-fold. So by applying those things, again, by successful people teaching us, pay attention, be aware, then apply it, and then you'll see for yourself. Don't take my word for it, go apply those things and see for yourself how all of a sudden things work out the way that makes you feel better and good about yourself. So
Yeah.
yeah, in business, that's how uplifting has benefited me. Whatever I did for other people, it really has come back tenfold, 100-fold, 1,000-fold. And yeah, I trust, and I really hope that I can be that, that light and that inspiration for other people as well, and making them feel, being a part of the tenfold or 100-fold or 1,000-fold going back for them, whatever they put out into the universe.
Yeah, yeah, and I love the fact that you have somehow attached uplifting and giving together. I've never seen it like that, and it's amazing. And all the religious texts have told to give generously. And what's that saying?
Joyfully,
Ah, sorry.
and joyfully too. Give joyfully.
Enjoyfully, yes. To God always loves a cheerful giver.
Yeah.
So all these things were they're just not part of the religious text. They have meaning behind taking out the word. Just my understanding, taking out the word religious from it and just reading these texts because they have power in it, and they have the capacity to change lives. The only thing is to apply. Application is where things change. And I love the fact that you mentioned about, and I want to hear a little bit more about when you said that if you want something, you want to give it away first because that's just how things will work. Please expand on that for the viewers, because when I heard that for the first time, I remember it was something just totally, just went over my head. Was like, how, like, okay, I want money, but I don't have money. How do I give money? What? That was the first thing I thought. So please share.
Okay, so this is what I've learned. This is not my information. I learned this stuff. And basically, for example, let's use money as an example because it's quantifiable, it's easy to keep track of. If you want money in life, knowing that the secret of living is giving, knowing that karma or what goes around comes around is, or the law of attraction, right? It all can be used synonymously, is a thing. And for those of you who don't believe in this stuff, I challenge you, I dare you even to try it and see for yourself. Don't just brush it off without even trying it, right? Just like if I told you, oh, this souffle is delicious, and you haven't even tried it, and you're like, no, it's gross. Well, how do you know it's gross? Right? Before
Exactly.
you even try it, you might take a bite and you're like, this is the best dish I've ever had. So, in terms of the law of attraction, karma, or what goes around comes around, try it, apply it, and you'll see. It's magic, but it's not magic. So, back to the money part, right? For example, a couple years ago, I, was in a situation where I wanted more money, and I couldn't be at a live event that I wanted to really attend. And I was like, okay, well, you know what? I can't change the fact that I can't be there right now, right? That part just takes time. So, what can I do instead of being there? What can I do to even help other people enjoy that experience even better? And I volunteered time. Now, when I volunteered time, how that ties to money is that, one, they don't have to spend money hiring other people. Two, I took time off work, so I'm not making money there. And that's in a sense giving money away too, because now I'm not making that money. And I put my head down and I did the best I could at that position to volunteer. And guess what? Magically, a couple $1,000s just fell on my lap, you know? Like, it's just incredible how when you apply these little things cheerfully and
Exactly.
enthusiastically, right? The cheerfully is very important, because if you're doing it begrudgingly and just being, you're not enjoying the experience, well, again, what goes around comes around. As you're experiencing, you're not enjoying it, you're not feeling good, well, you're creating more situations in the future that will equal that feeling, right? So as I was cheerfully and enthusiastically volunteering my time, as if by magic, a couple $1,000s just came into my experience, and I was like, "Oh man, this is great!" And I was able to do things that I wanted to do with that. And yeah, I have plenty of other stories relating to just giving, and the universe or God, whichever terminology you want to use, uh, gives back to you, and
That's
it will come to you in ways that you can't even imagine. For example, just one quick example, I've had experiences where the government and my credit card company reached out to me. It's like, hey, we owe you money. Now, when the government and the credit card company reaches out to you and admit they owe you money, you know this stuff works because their job is
Yeah.
to take your money, to keep your money.
Yeah. It's and there are instances like that, and just what I've observed is most people do not believe in this because they're part of the circles where these things do not happen. So um, if you want to grow, then be around others who are growing because they'll have different scenarios and different situations in their life, which will move some energy in you, and you will see these shifts changing your life. And what Patrikus has just shared is part of what really happens. But but if you want to eat the pie, you'll have to take a bite.
Take a bite.
You'll have to take a bite. So go there. So let's talk about some of the challenges other than you just mentioned one of the challenges that you faced that you were not able to go to one of the events that you wanted to go. Really, you were passionate about the event. You weren't able to. What were some of the toughest points in your life that, in your understanding and in your opinion, have made you to move and 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 really made you achieve certain things which were outside of your quote unquote radar screen and just made you the person who you are today?
Wow, there's not just one thing, I can tell you that. You know, if we could section off, if I can section off my life 5 years, 5 years, 5 years at a time, there's there has always been some challenge that just lit a fire, underneath me that I had to change the condition of my living experience. One that I will share is that excuse me. Now, I don't want to get too controversial here, but I would have to say, I ended earlier with my acting career where I took a step back away from acting as my career was taking off. I had an offer actually to be in a recurring role with Robert Downey Jr. that I declined as well because I didn't want to take certain injections, and I said no to them 3 times. So I took a step back, and going through that experience where we were locked in our homes. Basically, the world was quote unquote shut down, if you will. I saw how much my friends were hurting because they didn't have work in the film industry and outside, specifically in the film industry, because that's when everything kind of like that shift started for me, that awakening period started for me. And I was like, man, this is, this doesn't feel good, seeing my friends who are so passionate about the industry as well, and this is all they want to do as well, and for them to struggle so much, that pissed me off real a
Mm-hmm.
lot. And I had the idea of starting my own production company a couple years before that, but I just never made that hard decision
Mm-hmm.
to it was sitting in the back burner, if you will. But
Yep.
that experience pissed me off so much that I was like, okay, now is the time, you know. And this was after the whole lockdown period subsided. It changed the world, if you will. It changed the world, if you will. And I was like, man, now is the time. I want to be part of the solution. I want to be able to give people the choice to. I'm trying not to get your show canceled, if you will. I want to offer people the choice to the freedom of choice. Let's just say easy freedom of choice. I wanted them to be able to be like, hey, you know what? I still would like to be working, you know, while things are shutting down and a little bit difficult. I wanted to be part. I want to be part of the solution, and that was it. That
Mhm.
helped me make the decision to start Personal Genie production. And again, it hasn't been easy after making that decision. Been a lot of talks with lawyers and contracts and behind the scenes stuff that you know, especially one, the film industry, the movie industry is a tough industry. Two, just having a startup in general is tough. But at the, again, I've been having so much fun doing it, regardless of all the challenges, because I've met new people that are amazing as well, and I've you know re the relationships with past friends and stuff in the industry has been relit, and it's just an amazing experience. Yeah, and I'm
Yeah.
really looking forward to filming on July 27th, and then also again that's being filmed in BC here, Vancouver, BC, or the Greater Vancouver area, and then another one in Chicago in November. So
Okay.
that's in the workbooks right now, and yeah, super excited
My
about that.
best to you. My best to you. I've paid attention to your story for a while now, so and followed you your Instagram. I see some happenings, so I'm looking forward to these two phenomenal dates, which are going to be big for you. So my
Thank
best
you.
to you. I give you all the love and all the energy, and I wish you the best here. I wish success for you. So
Thank
that's
you.
amazing. So let me just ask you this. So when you have experienced the pain, right? What was the thing that motivated you during these times? I understand that you said that just seeing people not being able to work, you wanted to provide a solution for that, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
what how did you stay motivated during these times? What was the thing?
To answer the first part of your question, not only that they weren't able to work, but they were going into debt because they had to pay bills and and feed themselves.
Yeah.
That was I didn't like seeing that. And the second part of the question, what was the second part of the question? What motivated me?
Yeah, during these times, what motivated you to like during these times, what was the motivation other than
Yeah,
just seeing your friends and your co-workers, your colleagues going under debt? What
yeah.
got you moving? What was the thing that made you move?
There's a wise man once said that the only thing for evil to succeed is for good men, and this was an old quote, so of course men and women, is for good men to do nothing.
Ah,
Does
I
that make
like that.
sense?
Yeah, that does because I personally feel some challenges sometimes being stuck and not taking action. So I can resonate with what you're saying.
Yeah. So look, there are certain people who are trying to create a world that perhaps we don't agree with,
Mm-hmm.
and but let's not focus on destroying and destroying and destroying. Again, remember, love is the way.
Absolutely.
What is the society, what is the world that we see that would really benefit everybody, or as many people as possible? Love based, peace, health, sovereignty, wealth, freedom. What does that look like to us? And you know, for me, I have a very clear vision of what that's like. And as far as the people that I stay in close contact with, we have similar visions, or we're very aligned with each other, and it feels right. It feels like the right thing to do. And stepping away from trying to destroy other people or destroy other movements, if you will, right? That's not what we're about. We want to create, or at Personal Genie Productions, yes, we're making movies, but it's also we want to be part of the the side, the Jedi's, if you will, to create a society or a world that is thriving on sovereignty, wealth, freedom, and love, and peace, and health, and all the good feeling things, the things that I know deep down everybody wants. Like, I, I know, and here's the reason that I believe we can achieve it, because I know deep down inside that everybody just wants to be happy,
Yeah,
want to feel loved, want to feel accepted. And if that's the case, people don't have the natural tendency to destroy and break other people down. So now we just have to, know, build or work towards that end goal of, okay, well, what does, how do we get to that point where everyone can thrive together and work together, and whether it's in movies or construction or podcasts or restaurants or whatever, right? So that is the biggest driving inspiration, the biggest driving force, for us here at Personal Genie Productions. And we're gonna be applying that. Part of the really cool things that I get to do as a producer is to make sure we put out projects and movies that can plant seeds in people's, like, this feels good.
mm,
This type of lifestyle feels good. Look at all these people getting along, and kind of letting people see that vision that we have. And if you resonate with it, great. If you don't, hey, perhaps we can learn. Maybe I can learn something from your vision, what you see,
yeah,
and vice versa. But always, always, always remember, love is the way.
yeah. I love that. I love that. Yes, that's great. And I love the vision and the mission that you have for Personal Genie Productions is to give that spark that we talked about before we actually uh, started recording for the show. It's the Kindle. I'm here to be that Kindle for you, and my intention is to do that. So that's amazing, and that's pretty much for what I have for the show as well. I want to introduce people who are doing it, who have done things in their life, who are achieving things in their life, and they're doing it from the and they're not beating the horse again and again with the same kind of teachings of you have to work hard, you have to get up early. I mean, that's just the scratch of the surface, in my understanding. The real answer is totally enjoyable. That's the real answer. It doesn't have to be drudgery and the grit and the grind and the people who say, well, get up and grind. The 9 to 5 is the grind and this and that. Well, they are popular sayings, in my understanding, and in my opinion, my observation. But does that really work? Is the question that I've always asked myself. Does that really work? If that was the case, why isn't that construction guy who's just around the corner on the street just in front of me? Why is that guy not rich? Why? Coming from India, I've seen so many laborers. They're working day in, day out, night sometimes, to have these buildings that we have that we live in. They're not rich people. Well, they work really hard. They have muscular bodies, but they're not rich. What is the thing? What exactly is the thing? Pay attention is what I've started paying attention to. Pay attention to pay attention.
Pay attention to pay attention. Very, very true. Because you do
Yeah,
have to pay attention in order to really pay attention, catch yourself.
yeah,
Like,
exactly. Yeah, catch yourself. That's
yeah,
that's amazing. Yeah, go ahead. You were about to say something.
yeah. And I was gonna say, the answer to your question, your wish is your command, everybody.
Yeah, which is your command? For me, the life changed when I started listening to these series. Before that, it was like all up and down, haywire. But the path just started opening up easily for me. That's just my observation. So
Mhm.
share a moment in your life when you felt that you have made it. Yes, I've done it, made it.
Ooh, okay. So, uh, well, let me see. I have something called a souffle list. So every time that I've applied something from the training that I'm going through, and used it successfully to create something that I want in my life, I write it down in my souffle list. And let me see. Let me pick something off the top of my head. I mean, everything that you started off the show with today, those moments where I felt I made it, you know,
Mm,
and
thank you.
and thank you for sharing that with everybody. And I would have to say, actually, I'll share a story that it was both a loss and a win, and I felt really good about that. And I guess you can say that that's one of the experience where I felt I made it, right? I went to support a friend of mine who is a boxer, and this was a few years back. And you know, after his match, the next match, someone didn't show up,
Mhm.
and they randomly asked people in the crowd, "Hey, who wants to come into the ring and fight?" So my hand went up. I've never
Okay,
boxed before in my life.
okay.
Excuse me. Never boxed before in my life, but I was confident. I've been in a couple scraps, if you street scraps, if you will. Growing up,
Okay.
growing up, you live, you learn, and like
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
nothing. Yeah, and well, actually, some of the people that I've been in scraps with, like we talk now, where it was just testosterone kids growing up, and I just kind of wanted to have a little fun and see where I was at. So I got into the ring, and like again, never having boxed in my life, the first two rounds, I was the favorite, and this guy is an experienced boxer, or more experienced than I am. He trains at the gym. However, because I was inexperienced, I got gassed out. I was, I didn't know what I
Mhm.
was doing, and I was so by the third round, I was so tired, and then he brought the pain after that. He brought the pain. Oh, he kicked my ass so hard that like I was dizzy for a couple days afterwards. But the reason why I wanted to share that, and why I felt I made it, was to see. I was so glad that I lost that fight, actually, because to him boxing meant a lot. To me, I was just having fun. To
Mhm.
hear his story, to we became friends afterwards. To hear his story afterwards, a year later, where his career went, he got better and better. it- that meant so much to him. Had I beat him that day, I don't know, where maybe he would have given up on boxing. I don't know, right?
Mhm.
But to see that, it might have hurt his ego, or his feeling so much, he might have given up on boxing. But I'm glad that I was able to be a stepping stone for him to get to where he was at. And for me, that I felt that was I made it, in the sense where, for me, it just felt really good. And for me,
Yeah.
just to clarify, making it is a blissful moment in life where you just feel out of this world, so good that even if you don't have whatever that you're striving for yet, you're just in a state of bliss, and you feel so good. and in many
Mhm.
cases, just feeling so good that your friend is succeeding or family member.
Man, Patrick, you're far away, but I would have hugged you right off of what you have said. Thank you for sharing this story. This is amazing. Making others successful made me think that I've made it. Wow, this is a key moment of this show. I can see it. This episode is just amazing. I love it. I love it. Thank you for sharing that. And like I said, I'm feeling that goosebump. So please, virtual hug to you. I really appreciate
Go
what
hug.
you have said. Thank you, thank you. Love is the way. You are the essence of the statement that you say. So I love the fact that you are living it. That love is the way, and each and every word coming out of your mouth is just that you're plugged in, man. You're plugged in. You're plugged in. You're a conduit today. You're plugged in. So that's yeah. Go ahead. You were
And it
about to say something.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and it feels really good feeling plugged in. Look, I'm gonna say it one more time. Your wish really is your command.
Oh
Okay,
boy.
and thank you for having me on the show. It's been a fantastic time. Like again, I've been watching your other episodes, and I love what you guys are doing over there. And all the best to you. I
Thank
look
you.
forward to seeing you guys, bringing on even more amazing, wonderful people who are shining their lights and lighting other people's candles. And yeah,
Yeah, I appreciate your time today. This is amazing. I have had so many nuggets that I've never looked at the way I look at. So thank you for inspiring me today. And I'm sure that the viewers are inspired by your story. And I would love to have you again on the show. Would love to know more about you. Just for the time constraint, I understand we'll have to wrap it up right now. But I am
mhm.
looking forward to having you again on the show. How can people, I just before you go, how can people follow you for your journey on your journey, and how can somebody who's listening and wants to get into the film production, or sorry, the film career, can actually reach out to you? So please share that, and I would share that in the description as well.
Yeah. So thank you for asking. If you want to reach out to me, my personal, uh, the email for the film, my production company is Personal Genie Productions at proton.me. And my Instagram handle is Personal Genie Productions or Patrikus Maximus. That's my personal one. And also on X, where I spend, you know, I do a lot of perusing and supporting other people on X as well. So that would be P Genie P for Personal Genie Productions. And yeah, I mean, what else? I'm still working on some of the social media stuff. I'm doing a lot of work behind the scenes, and as we grow, I'll I'll definitely be even more involved on social medias. But that's where you can find me for the moment.
Yeah, okay, perfect. Thank you for sharing that. And thank you again for being on the show today. This is an amazing show. I loved having you. I appreciate your time today, and I'm looking forward to meeting you soon. And viewers, this is all for today. Hopefully, you've got value from the show. I would suggest to rewatch the show. There were so many things that were shared that can literally change your life. I would suggest you to watch the show again. And then this is something that I would recommend. Your wish is your command. If there is a way you would want to change, go to yourwishisyourcommand.com or go to globalinformationnetwork.com and just take a listen and see if this resonates with you, like Patrick has mentioned. And if it does, then welcome on the path.
Thanks, Amandeep. Have
All
the
right.
best day ever. Have a great weekend, actually, and we'll see you soon.
Take care. Bye bye. Thank you.